You don't overtrade because you lack discipline. You overtrade because something inside you feels unsafe when you're not in a trade. Let that settle for a second. Most traders never admit this to themselves. It is easier to say, I just need more discipline. It is easier to blame rules. It is easier to download another strategy. It is easier to tighten your risk management and tell yourself you will do better tomorrow. But that is not the real issue. You think the problem is rules. You think the problem is self-control. It is deeper than that. If it was just discipline, you would have fixed it already. You know your setup. You know your confirmations. You know your risk percentage. You have watched the videos. You have written the notes. You have promised yourself you will wait. And yet, you still click. Overtrading is not a strategy problem. It is a psychological survival pattern. When you are not in a trade, something uncomfortable starts happening inside you. There is restlessness. There is tension. There is a subtle fear that you are missing out. There is a voice that says, what if this is the move? There is another voice that says, if you do not take this, you are falling behind. That discomfort is what drives the entry, not the setup, not the chart, the discomfort. Today, I'm going to show you the real reason you overtrade. And it might make you uncomfortable, because once you see it clearly, you will realize the problem was never the market. It was the way your nervous system reacts to uncertainty. And once you understand that, you stop fighting yourself. You start training yourself. Let's go deeper. Section 1. What overtrading actually is. Let's define this properly. Overtrading is not just taking many trades. It is taking trades that do not meet your full criteria. It is entering without full confirmation. It is taking trades outside your model. It is revenge trading after a loss. It is trading because you are bored. It is forcing setups that are not clean and convincing yourself they are valid. It is seeing what you want to see instead of what is actually there. That is overtrading. But here is where most traders get it wrong. Overtrading is not about charts. It is about emotional regulation. The chart is neutral. The setup is neutral. The market is neutral. Your nervous system is not. When you sit out of the market, something starts happening internally. You feel restless. You feel like you are missing money. You feel behind other traders. You feel invisible, like nothing is moving in your life. That discomfort builds pressure, and pressure looks for release. Clicking the buy or sell button becomes emotional relief. You are not entering because the setup is perfect. You are entering because the discomfort of waiting feels worse than the risk of losing. Overtrading is emotional relief disguised as opportunity. Section 2. The real root. Identity attachment. Now, let's go deeper. If your identity is attached to being active, you will feel anxious when you are not trading. This is where it becomes uncomfortable. Many traders secretly believe things they never say out loud. If I'm not in a trade, I'm not productive. If I'm not catching moves, I'm falling behind. Real traders are always active. So what happens when the market is slow? Silence feels like failure. Waiting feels weak. Patience feels passive. You start questioning yourself. You open the charts again. You zoom into lower time frames. You look for something, anything. But here is the truth. Most beginners do not understand. Professional traders are paid for waiting. They are not paid for activity. They are paid for execution quality. Beginners attach their worth to action. Professionals attach their worth to precision. One measures how much they did. The other measures how well they did it. If your identity needs to feel busy, you will overtrade. If your identity values control and selectivity, you will wait. Section 3. Dopamine addiction and micro wins. Now, let's talk about your brain. Trading triggers anticipation. It triggers risk. It triggers reward uncertainty. And uncertainty is powerful. Every time you anticipate a potential win, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is not the reward itself. It is the anticipation of reward. It is the excitement of maybe. That feeling is addictive. Overtrading is often dopamine seeking. It is emotional stimulation. It is escape from boredom. Your brain does not care about your account balance. It cares about stimulation. When the market is slow, your brain feels understimulated. So what do? You manufacture activity. You force entries. You justify setups that are not fully aligned. You zoom in until you find something that looks tradable. Overtrading is stimulation disguised as ambition. You tell yourself you are being aggressive. You tell yourself you are being hungry. But what you are really doing is feeding a craving for excitement. Section 4. Scarcity thinking. Now, let's expose another layer. Do you feel like every move must be caught? Do you feel like opportunities are rare? Do you feel pressure to grow fast? That is scarcity thinking. Scarcity makes you chase. Abundance makes you selective. If you believe this might be the only opportunity today, you rush. If you believe the market will be here tomorrow, you wait. Scarcity whispers, take it now or lose it forever. Abundance says, if it's not clean, leave it. When you operate from scarcity, every candle feels urgent. When you operate from abundance, only quality feels urgent. Overtrading is often fear of missing a survival level opportunity. It is not just about money. It is about the fear that if you do not catch this move, you will fall further behind in life. And that fear makes you act before you are ready. Section 5. Emotional avoidance. Now we get to the uncomfortable part. Sometimes you overtrade because you are avoiding something in your real life. Read that again in your mind. Not every trade is about the market. Some trades are about distraction. You might be stressed about money. You might be frustrated with your progress. You might feel behind in life. You might feel pressure to prove something. Trading becomes the place where you try to fix that feeling. Sometimes you overtrade because you are trying to make back a loss fast. Not just a financial loss, but an emotional one. You want relief. You want redemption. You want to restore your confidence immediately. Other times, you overtrade because you want to feel in control. And trading gives the illusion of control. When life feels uncertain, the chart feels controllable. The candles move in patterns. The market has structure. There are rules. There are entries. There are exits. It feels like something you can dominate. So, what do? You enter more trades. You micromanage positions. You stare at the screen for hours. You convince yourself that if you watch closely enough, you can bend the outcome in your favor. But that is not strategy. That is emotional displacement. You are not trading the market. You are trading your feelings. And until you address what you are avoiding, the cycle continues. Section 6, the shift. From activity to stability. Now, let's shift. You do not fix overtrading by shouting at yourself. You fix it by reframing your identity. Instead of saying, I need to trade, adopt a different standard. I need to protect capital. That changes everything. Instead of asking, how many trades did I take today? Ask, how many bad trades did I avoid? That is a powerful shift. Mature traders measure restraint. They are proud of the trades they did not take. They understand that avoiding a bad trade is the same as making money. Here is the practical framework. First, predefine your maximum number of trades per day. 2, 3. Whatever aligns with your model. When you hit that number, you stop. No negotiation. Second, only trade after full checklist confirmation. Not almost, not close enough. Full confirmation. Third, schedule. Chart-free hours. Time where you physically step away. The market does not need your constant supervision. Fourth, journal your emotional state before entering a trade. Ask yourself, am I calm or am I trying to fix something? If you are trying to fix something, do not click. This builds a psychological buffer. A buffer between impulse and action. A buffer between emotion and execution. And that buffer is where discipline is actually built. Section 7. Long-term truth. Now zoom out. One clean trade is better than 5 forced ones. One disciplined month is better than one lucky week. You do not build consistency through intensity. You build it through stability. Here is the hard truth. If you trade from urgency, you will stay in cycles. Urgency leads to overexposure. Overexposure leads to emotional swings. Emotional swings lead to inconsistency. Peaceful traders make cleaner entries. Not because they are smarter, but because they are not desperate. Stop trying to feel active. Start trying to feel stable. The goal is not to be in the market. The goal is to remain intact while participating in it. Overtrading is not about discipline. It is about discomfort. The discomfort of waiting. The discomfort of uncertainty. The discomfort of not feeling in control. When you learn to sit with discomfort, you stop sabotaging your edge. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You start selecting. If this made you uncomfortable, that means it hit something real. Subscribe to the Daily Trader Mindset if you want emotional control, not just entries. Comment one word below. Impulse or control? Be honest with yourself. That answer says more about your trading than your strategy ever will.